back to part 2 of I think my husband fathered his best friend's children and now one of them is attracted to my daughter. Let's see what the fuck happened. Sick.
Hey, listen up. Before we start our weekly scheduled podcast, we'd like to cover our asses. The content in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes alone and should not be interpreted or construed as official advice or instruction of any kind. We're blowing a 4.0, so please listen responsibly and enjoy.
Tom, Amy's eldest, asked Sophie out. Sophie is her eldest daughter. She really blossomed over the few years and became quite the outspoken beauty. So I'm not shocked to see she's getting male attention. But Tom asking her out had me thrown. Sophie said no, but only because I'm quite protective when it comes to her exploring dating, and she knew she'd have to ask me first. Ellie wants out.
Dog hold is over. Ow, I think my appendix just burst. Or I have gas, one of the two that hurt. Oh my god.
I was like, you would know if your appendix just burst.
It felt like it for a second. I was like, oh no, that's liver failure or something right there. Holy fuck.
Liver failure. Sophie said no, but only because I'm quite protective when it comes to her exploring dating, and she knew she'd have to ask me first. I could tell she was flattered and intrigued by his interest and wanted to say yes. She approached me to talk to me about it. Bless my girl. She did everything right. I think she expected I would see things her way and agree that she could date Tom. Much to her surprise, I firmly said no. That caused a bit of conflict.
Because mommy's keeping secrets.
Yeah. She didn't even want to date him that badly. She just couldn't understand why she wasn't allowed to, and I couldn't explain it to her. All I could come up with was, he's too old for you, which he is, but it's not really about that. When Amy and Luke heard, I was very curious to see what their reactions would be. If either of them had agreed with Sophie and tried to convince me that the two of them should be allowed to date, I think I would have been relieved and taken that as proof that I was wrong about something going on between them. Do we think that they're going to say that she's wrong?
That she's wrong about them being related?
No, that she's wrong about her that Sophie not being able to date Tom. What do we think?
Do you think they do it anyway?
I don't know.
I think they do it anyway, because once mom says no, then it's just like, okay, now I'm going.
No. But like Luke and Amy, do you think they're going to come back and be like, why didn't you let her date Tom?
Oh, I understand. Yeah. Oh, shit. Oh.
I haven't read on, but do you think that's going to happen? Because her words are sounding like it's going to not.
Well, they won't have a problem with her saying no.
And then it's going to go down in the DMs.
Because if either of them said no, then that would also be suspicious.
Yeah. That's what she's saying.
Okay, now I get it.
She's saying, I think I would have been relieved and taken that as proof that I was wrong about something going on between them. Relieved.
Yeah.
She would have been. So those words right there are already foreshadowing me to be like, they are going to agree with her. Great. Oh, fuck. I just read the next sentence. Wrong about who fathered Amy's children, but the ambiguity continued. I can't talk today. I'm sorry. They took my side.
Oh.
Both of them put their foot down, though not as fiercely as I did. Luke agreed with me, but he also worried that trying to forbid such a romance would only make Sophie want it more. He was probably right about that. Amy seemed more... is it sympathetic? No, that's not trying to come out of my mouth. Amy seemed more apathetic. What does that mean?
Like not caring.
Okay. To the idea. She didn't want Tom to date Sophie either, and she backed me up. But I didn't know. She just wasn't taking it as seriously. Wait, back up. I'm gonna reread that because that was the wrong word. She didn't want Tom to date Sophie either, and she backed me up. But I don't know, she just wasn't taking it as seriously. She seemed to think it was a fleeting crush. Here it is. Well, it wasn't. In the months following those conversations, Tom would spend more and more time with Sophie. They would be alone or with other friends anytime they possibly could. It's because abundantly clear, yeah, that's what she put. It's become abundantly clear that Tom is crazy about Sophie and wants to be with her. And he definitely wants to be physical, which I'm watching them like a hawk and noticed his eyes wandering many times. And while I'm doing everything I can to kill this budding budding romance in the crib. Okay, sorry. That was just a weird sentence. I also am feeling somewhat powerless. Sophie hasn't outwardly defied me. She's still hanging out with Tom as friends, so forcing them to stop spending time together would be unreasonable and probably encourage more sneaking around. But I also am afraid that they're already doing that. My nightmare is that they're secretly dating and doing God knows what when no one is looking. I've observed Tom being rather handsy with Sophie, and she presents no objection whatsoever. And I just don't know what to say. I had considered trying to convince Sophie that Tom is like her brother, but if she doesn't see him that way, I don't really have the power to rewrite their emotional dynamic or the history of their friendship. I always saw Amy and her children as like being family, but my kids might see Amy's kids as best friends, which is true, but that's always something that you have to run into, right?
Yeah.
That's why people are always careful bringing their kids, like having them grow up together, because you've already got that dynamic, you've already got that relationship, that foundation.
Yeah.
And then you go into high school, and that's when like the hormones start settling in and like all of the other shit that goes on in your brain that everyone else who has a degree in it will know about, right? Oy. The problem is, of course, that if my husband was indeed carrying on an affair over the years, and I'm right about the paternity of Amy's children, then Tom and Sophie cannot be anything more than friends under my circumstances. End of discussion. Because then we're getting into Game of Thrones territory.
You're gonna have a kid come out all crooked.
It can never happen. I feel powerless to stop it though. Luke has apparently talked to Tom about this, as has Amy, but he is unrelenting and he won't give up on Sophie. I think she enjoys the attention and devotion. Tom has also confronted me and asked why I'm so against this when I know him very well and I know he would be good to Sophie. I didn't know what to say other than to fall back on her being too young for him, but that wouldn't work forever. It doesn't. If, God forbid, they're still attracted to each other in a few years, then they'll pursue this and abandon. If God forbid they're still attracted to each other in a few years, then they'll pursue this with abandon. And once they're legal adults, there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, just a few more. God, I want to know what happens.
Right.
Amy and Luke agree with me that Tom cannot date Sophie, but that's all they've really done. They feel just as powerless as me to prevent teen love. It genuinely feels sometimes like they've just given up and will bury their heads in the sand about this. Just do nothing and hope the feelings pass as Tom and Sophie get older, which is not always true. They're in high school. It's unlikely Tom will be in love with Sophie forever, but my fear is that she'll let him do something intimate with her before the time comes. Something neither of them can take back. True. I am this close to opening a door I cannot close, this close to screaming at Luke that all this wouldn't be happening if he hadn't cheated on me all those years ago. If he hadn't been all but raising a second family with his surrogate sister behind my back. Now Luke's son wants to fuck our daughter, his actual sister, because as far as he knows, she's just his childhood friend, and that's all Luke and Amy's fault for what they've done. Sorry, I got really close to the speaker. If I speak up, everything gets blown to hell. On the off chance that I'm wrong, I'm a horrible monster who accused the love of my life and one of my closest friends of doing something horrible. If I'm right, it still tears. If I'm right, it still tears our entire structure apart. The family and social unit we've become over the last several years is gone, and everyone will be stressed and upset, even if Luke and I don't divorce. If I do nothing, Sophie's eventually going to sleep with Tom and be his girlfriend, and I'm low-key terrified it will happen sooner than later, or worse, that it's already happened under our nose. I hope to hell this relationship fades as they mature, but what if it doesn't? What if they wind up being together for years? What if they marry, want to get pregnant someday? And if I tell Sophie the truth about Amy's kids, then everyone else will find out too. And that's going to ruin so many lives. It would shatter my kids' perception of their father and their Aunt Amy. Luke is Owen's hero. I don't even want to think about how much this would hurt him. And what about Amy's children? They're innocent. They didn't ask for this. They don't control where they come from, and I don't want to hurt them. Admittedly, I'm not happy with Tom at the moment. A week ago, I saw him put his hands on Sophie's butt, and I wanted to knock his teeth out, but even he doesn't deserve to be burdened by the knowledge that it's his half-sister he's been fantasizing about. Oh God, it's
not
also
funny,
fucked
but,
up,
like,
and I
what
don't
the fuck,
know what
dude?
to do. What?
I shouldn't be laughing, but it's just so. I don't
It
even know what else
sucks
to do.
because,
It's
like,
so fucking weird.
Right? I've been looking the other way and letting my husband and his best friend insult me for such a long time now. I thought I could live with it, but this business with Tom and Sophie has me distressed. Someone commented, wow, 23 and me for Christmas. Maybe a guitar too. Banjo. Maybe a banjo too.
See, I called it. Everybody's like, you could solve this with a DNA test from Walgreens, my man. Like, you gotta figure it out.
Someone says, is your relationship with Luke really good? Because it needs to be for this. You gotta have the time where you and Luke can discuss this and literally start with how you understand it's going to create immediate tension and say you can't help but suspect something. I would have done this a long time ago though, especially after the vasectomy and she never got pregnant again. I'd be like, okay, look.
We gotta figure.
Yeah, because this is A plus B is not equaling C squared. Like, no. I know, that's why I said A plus B does not equal C squared. Do you get it now? Because A plus B does not equal the square root of C. So I want to read the first update, but this one's long, but I kind of want to, dang. Gosh dang. So there's more updates, there's more to the story, but I'm going to stop it here and we're going to come back next week to read the rest. Leave your comments down below of like what you think is going to happen, and we'll be back for part 3 because what the fuck. Bye.
Bye.
Holy shit.
What a shit show.